strong earthquake strikes off California coast. South Korea ruling party chief demands Yoon Suk-yeol to step down. Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for choosing World Today with me, Renee Fong. A powerful earthquake that struck off the coast of California sparked a brief tsunami warning on Thursday, with residents warned to flee to higher ground before the alert was cancelled. Seismologists at the United States Geological Survey said the shallow 7.0 magnitude tremor had hit around 68 kilometers from the coastal town of Ferndale mid-morning, with people living in the area experiencing strong ground shakes. The National Weather Service, which issued the warning, withdrew it around midday, shortly before the first waves had been expected. The quake appeared to have been felt across the region, including in the San Francisco Bay Area, where some people said they had felt rolling waves underfoot. The area has been struck by a number of major earthquakes, including a 1994 quake that hit Northridge in the Los Angeles area, killing dozens of people and injuring thousands more as it wrought billions of dollars of damage to homes and infrastructure. The San Francisco earthquake of 1906, which also caused a tsunami, is thought to have killed upwards of 3,000 people, some of whom died in fires that erupted after the powerful tremor. South Korea's ruling party chief on Friday demanded President Yoon Suk-yeol to stand down over his martial law attempt and warned that he posed a great danger to the country. The shocking comments from Han Dong-hoon, the head of Yoon's People Power Party, almost guarantees enough lawmakers will vote to impeach the president tomorrow.
지금 국회에서
Han's comments were a U-turn from Thursday when he said he would block the impeachment, and another party leader insisted all 108 members of the PPP would unite to support Yoon in Saturday's vote. But Han said Friday that Yoon's refusal to acknowledge he had done anything wrong in declaring martial law on Tuesday night had prompted his change of position. Yoon suspended civilian rule late Tuesday and deployed troops and helicopters to Parliament only for lawmakers to vote down the measure and force him into a U-turn in a night of protests and drama. The opposition holds a large majority in the 300-member legislature and requires only a handful of defections from the PPP to secure the two-thirds majority needed for impeachment. And according to a poll issued Thursday by Real Meter, 73.6% of respondents supported the impeachment. Thousands of protesters continued to rally in central Seoul and near the parliament on Thursday evening, demanding the president step down. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said on Thursday his government's progress in boosting the economy should be judged by using data on household disposable income and GDP per capita over the 5-year parliament. The government would aim for the fastest economic growth per capita in the group of 7 advanced economies, which represents a dilution of what was previously a pledge, according to a document setting out Starmer's plans.
Our plan for change is a break, both with the unrealistic bluster of Boris Johnson, but also with the acceptance of decline that was Rishi Sunak's 5 pledges. Our plan for change is the most ambitious and credible programme for government in a generation, and we embrace the risk that comes with it.
It also promised to deliver higher living standards across every region of the United Kingdom by the end of the Parliament. Household disposable income, adjusted for inflation, rose on average by just 0.3% per year between 2019 and 2024, marking the worst parliamentary term for living standards since records began in the 1950s, according to the Institute of Fiscal Studies. Western countries, including the United States, assailed Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov over the war in Ukraine on Thursday at an annual meeting of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe in Malta. Ukraine dominated the foreign ministers' meeting politically, although envoys were also due to formally approve agreements on issues, including senior staff positions at the security and rights body, where Western powers often accuse Russia of flouting human rights and other international norms. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha told the meeting that his country was continuing to fight for its right to exist. Sybiha and others left the room for Lavrov's speech, as often happens at international meetings, and Lavrov was absent when U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken delivered his speech. This was Lavrov's first visit to a European Union member state since Russia began its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Moscow has often blamed the West for the war. Lavrov and Blinken were not scheduled to meet. India on Thursday warned the top United Nations Court not to create new international laws on tackling climate change as judges aim to craft a fresh global legal framework. Joining other top emitters, the United States and China, India told the International Court of Justice through its representative Luther Rangreji that the existing UN framework was sufficient, angering smaller vulnerable states that want to see the court go further.
In rendering its advisory opinion, the court may exercise due caution to avoid devising new or additional obligations beyond what is already agreed under the existing climate change regime, which take into consideration historic emissions, climate justice, and the principle of equity and CBDRC, as well as the equitable access to the global carbon budget.
More than 100 countries and organizations are presenting at the ICJ, the biggest case ever before the world's top court. Critics say the ICJ's advisory opinion will lack teeth as it is non-binding upon states and there is no means of enforcement. Others hope the ICJ will lay down a legal precedent that will influence domestic climate legislation and litigation. A Pakistani court on Thursday issued an arrest warrant for former Prime Minister Imran Khan's wife, Bushra Bibi, in a graft case, a move that could lead to her rearrest just 2 months after she was freed from jail on bail. Bushra Khan, known more commonly as Bushra Bibi, was released from prison in October after being detained for 9 months over an ongoing case involving the illegal sale of state gifts during her husband's tenure in office from 2018 to 2022. Both she and Khan, who is currently imprisoned pending other trials, are accused of allegedly selling gifts worth more than 140 million rupees that Khan received during his premiership and which belonged in state possession. They both deny the charges. The court in Islamabad issued a fresh warrant in her name in the same case on Thursday, potentially allowing the National Accountability Bureau, NAB, Pakistan's anti-graft agency, which enjoys jurisdiction across the country, to arrest her. The protests turned violent and Khan's party alleged, without immediately providing evidence, that hundreds of its supporters had suffered gunshot wounds, leaving nearly a dozen dead. The government has denied it, saying no protesters were killed. South African authorities retrieved 6 bodies of illegal miners in the past 24 hours from a disused mine shaft in Stillerfontein as rescue operations continue for hundreds believed to still be trapped underground. The incident comes as more than 1,000 illegal miners have resurfaced in recent weeks amid a police crackdown on illicit mining activities. Miners are caught in a standoff with police who had initially cut off food and water supplies to force them to surface. However, a recent court ruling mandated that the illegal miners be provided with sustenance. South Africa's Police Commissioner Fanny Masemola visited the site where food items were sent down to the miners trapped in a shaft descending vertically for more than 2 kilometers underground. The closure of gold mines in several South African provinces has attracted thousands of undocumented migrants from neighboring countries who have arrived to reopen closed and disused mines. Authorities continue to grapple with the complex issue of illegal mining, balancing rescue efforts with law enforcement and the safety risks posed by dangerous mining conditions. In the first few days after opposition forces took over Syria's second city, Aleppo, in a surprise sweep through government-led territory, bakeries were short on bread. A nighttime curfew restricted movements and internet connection was spotty. But a week on, some services have resumed. Curfew has been lifted. Traffic police wave cars through intersections and petrol stations display prices in several currencies. They are part of an effort by the Opposition Force Alliance spearheaded by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, a former Daesh affiliate in Syria, to show Syrians and the West that it is a viable alternative to President Bashar al-Assad. The opposition forces took the main northern city of Aleppo last week and have since pushed south from the enclave in northwest Syria. Fighting has raged around villages outside Hama for 2 days but ended in hours once they entered the city. The collapse of Syrian government control in the north is stark evidence of a shift in the balance of power since Lebanon's Hezbollah group, a linchpin of Assad's battlefield force, suffered catastrophic losses in war with Israel. Nvidia signs deal to establish AI center in Vietnam. More details in the foreign front. You're still with me, Renee Fong. Ministers from the Mercosur member nations and European Commission representatives gathered in Montevideo on Thursday to discuss the long-delayed trade deal between the European Union and South America's Mercosur bloc, even as France slammed the agreement as unacceptable. The deal, 20 years in the making and deeply divisive in Europe, where farmers in Paris have been the loudest voice in opposition, would create one of the world's largest trade partnerships and turbocharge the flow of beef and grains. Mercosur, including farming powerhouses Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay and Paraguay, are meeting for a planned summit in Montevideo, with negotiators now expecting a trade deal to be unveiled, despite several false dawns, including a 2019 signed agreement that failed to get ratified by nations in Europe. However, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, just days into her second term, faces stern opposition at home to deal, which would be the largest struck by the EU in terms of tariff reductions. EU countries as a whole and the European Parliament would have to approve any trade deal agreed. United States chip giant Nvidia signed a deal Thursday to establish an AI center in Vietnam. Jensen Huang, chairman and CEO of the Silicon Valley chip titan, met with Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh during a visit to Hanoi, where the two agreed to open an artificial intelligence research and development center. Huang said Nvidia was helping Vietnam build its first AI cloud, as well as advancing robotics and AI-powered smart cities in the country. Chin called the deal a significant milestone for Vietnam to become a leading research and development hub in Asia. Huang's Vietnam visit comes after a trip to Bangkok, where he said he would support AI development in Thailand and signed a partnership with Thai tech company Siam.ai to build the country's first sovereign cloud. Nvidia has already invested over $250 million in Vietnam and is working with some of Vietnam's top tech firms to deploy AI in the cloud, automotive and healthcare industries. Huang also announced that Nvidia had acquired VinBrain, an AI startup under Vingroup, one of Vietnam's largest technology and property conglomerates. Bitcoin shot past $100,000 for the first time on Thursday, taking the limelight away from stock markets that wavered as investors tracked political crisis in France and South Korea. The total value of the cryptocurrency market has almost doubled over the years so far to hit a record over $3.8 trillion. The digital asset has now soared more than 50% since the election of Donald Trump, who has vowed to make the United States the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency capital of the world. The historic level was broken after Trump picked crypto proponent Paul Atkins to take over as chair of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the market's regulator. Atkins is founder of risk consultancy firm Potomac Global Partners, whose clients include companies in the banking, trading and cryptocurrency industries. An expert said Bitcoin was not on the roadmap of traditional investors before, but now that has started to shift. Elon Musk, the world's richest person and one of Donald Trump's closest allies, met with U.S. lawmakers Thursday on his plans for overseeing radical government spending cuts under the incoming administration. During Trump's election campaign, Musk vowed to reduce federal spending by $2 trillion. President-elect Trump rewarded the Tesla, X and SpaceX chief for his support during the White House campaign by naming him head of the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, along with another wealthy ally, Vivek Ramaswamy. Musk and Ramaswamy have said they can identify billions of dollars of cuts in spending, sparking questions about whether Republicans will even try to slash politically popular Social Security programs. The two businessmen had previously laid out plans for the White House to cut staff, trim government programs and reduce federal regulations, even if it means bypassing Congress, which holds budgetary power. Musk says he is seeking mass headcount reductions across the federal bureaucracy. Musk suggested banning government employees from working at home as an opening tactic, which is expected to spur voluntary resignations. As Musk and Ramaswamy strode into the Capitol for meetings with lawmakers, Republican Speaker Mike Johnson touted a new day in America. Amazon said on Thursday it had successfully completed an initial test of using delivery drones in Italy, the first European country where the e-commerce giant plans to introduce the service. The test was carried out on Wednesday in San Salvo, a town in the central Abruzzo region. The test flight was made with the new Mk-30 drone, the highly automated drone system that uses the industry-leading Amazon computer vision program. Amazon said the company continues to work with Italian authorities to meet all the requirements needed to launch the service next year. The company had previously said it hoped to start using drones in Italy and in Britain in late 2024. In August, Britain's aviation regulator said it had selected 6 projects, including one by Amazon, to test the use of drones in deliveries, inspection of infrastructure and emergency services. So-called Prime Air Drone Package deliveries, first launched in December 2022, are currently operational in a couple of U.S. locations in Texas and Arizona and are due to be gradually expanded.
Europe's new Vega C rocket launched Thursday from French Guiana in its first takeoff since a failed flight 2 years ago. After days of delays, the rocket took off without problems, carrying the Sentinel-1C satellite for the European Union's Copernicus Earth Observation Program.
It is the first blaster for the lightweight rocket since December 2022, when it failed to reach orbit in its maiden commercial flight and lost 2 satellites, delivering a fresh blow to a continent already struggling to blast its missions into space. Europe has struggled to find a way to independently launch missions since Russia withdrew its rockets in 2022 over the war in Ukraine. 4 years of delays to Europe's new Ariane 6 rocket compounded the issue, forcing the continent to turn to rivals such as Elon Musk's SpaceX. The lighter Vega C was designed to send small satellites into low Earth orbit. 4 launches using Vega C are planned for next year, followed by 5 more in 2026. The Sentinel-1C satellite will use radar to monitor Earth's environment as part of the EU's Copernicus program to provide climate and other data to governments and businesses.
Still to come in sports, Selangor crashes out of AFC Champions League 2 despite win over Cebu. The 4-0 victory by Selangor FC against Filipino representative Cebu FC in the final match of Group H in the AFC Champions League 2 ACL2 was not enough to help the Red Giants advance to the round of 16. This came after Selangor finished the group stage in 3rd place with 10 points behind Thai representatives Muang Thong United, who collected 11 points after a 1-0 win over group leaders Jeonbuk Hyundai in another match.
In their must-win mission at the Rizal Memorial Stadium in Manila, Katsuhito Kinoshi's men started strong, taking the lead with a goal just before halftime. The goal came from foreign striker Yohandri Orozco, who cleverly headed in a cross from Alvin Fortes for the opening goal. In the second half, Selangor wasted no time in extending their lead, with Orozco scoring again in the 48th minute. The visitors then added 2 more goals, with Noah Laini scoring in the 57th minute and Fortes in the 79th, completing the 4-0 victory. This was Selangor's first win under Kinoshi's management after 2 previous domestic defeats. Jeonbuk finished top of the group with 12 points, 1 point ahead of Muang Thong United in 2nd place, while Cebu FC finished last with just 1 point.
Harimau Malaya head coach Pau Marti Vicente dropped a bombshell when he announced that the 2024 ASEAN Cup will be his final assignment with the national football team. The Football Association of Malaysia (FAM) posted on Facebook that the decision was made after discussions with the governing body regarding the restructuring of the national team management setup.
Yeah, will be always when you face the last game or last training will be a strange feeling. Also, I've been here since February 2022. Really good memories with all players, all staff, even all the supporting staff and FAM staff. So it will be, emotional for sure. But that's why to me it was better to take it off now. Also, we don't know what will happen next week, so it's better just we focus on the tournament.
Spaniard Vicente also said that as part of the restructuring, FAM will appoint a new head coach and panel of coaches for the 2027 Asia Cup qualifiers, which will begin next year. In the meantime, Vicente said he aims to end his journey with Harimau Malaya on a high note with the upcoming 2024 ASEAN Cup campaign that is slated to kick off this Sunday. The 41-year-old Spaniard admitted that although big challenges await him and his men, he promises to do his best in the campaign.
Yeah, this is a dream for all Malaysians and also for me, for the players. We know it will be very tough. I think this year also was very difficult to get the squad. The league is still playing. Difficult to get clubs to release players, even limitations, because we had only 50 players list, and from there we have to select, and sometimes clubs later they didn't allow. So we understand clubs because they also have to play. So we had limited options as well.
Malaysia are in Group A with defending champions Thailand, Singapore, Cambodia and Timor-Leste, while Group B comprises Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, Myanmar and Laos.
In Premier League news, Ange Postecoglou slammed Tottenham's flops as furious fans turned on the Australian, and his spluttering side after Bournemouth condemned them to a shock 1-0 defeat. Tottenham are languishing in 10th place, 6 points adrift of the top four heading into Sunday's London derby against second place Chelsea.
Dean Huijsen netted in the first half at the Vitality Stadium to leave Postecoglou's troubled team with just one win in their last 6 games in all competitions. The 19-year-old defender's first goal in English football after his close season move from Juventus exposed the flaws in the Tottenham era's prone defence. Lacklustre Tottenham were unfortunate not to lose by bigger margin as Andoni Iraola's side wasted several chances to increase their lead. Tottenham's 6th Premier League defeat this season was another setback for the under-fire Postecoglou after last weekend's disappointing 1-1 draw at home to 10-man Fulham. Having wasted a golden opportunity to qualify for the Champions League last season, Postecoglou is beginning to hear criticism of his overly attacking tactics, and his dismal display will add to the Australians' doubters. 9th-placed Bournemouth have now beaten Arsenal, Manchester City and Tottenham at home this season.
And that wraps up this World Today's edition. In our top story, strong earthquake strikes off California coast. I'm Renee Fong, Malaysia Madani. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Thanks for watching and have a pleasant Friday afternoon.